Biker, good evening, buddy. How's life? Give me 2 seconds. And good evening. All right, few people joined already. Nice. Sab, good evening, buddy. How's life? How are you? Oh. Give me a moment. Just spilled something. 1 sec. Last 2 seconds off it. We're fine. Hope next will be okay. Fair enough. Okay. Give me 1 moment. All right, cool. Well, good evening, those who joined. Just starting now, so. Alrighty. Yeah. So we're gonna continue pretty much where we stopped. Let me just move away and. Well, I don't know, Winsford. I'm just trying this this thing. What do you think? Should I change it back to how it was? What do you think? Should I change it how it was before? Camera quality isn't good. Huh, interesting. What about others? Camera quality should be pretty much the same as always. There's really nothing new about it, so I'm not sure. Let's see if someone else says something. Oh my god, look who is here. Kirill is here. So is the camera quality bad or is it just windward? He says that camera quality is bad. Okay, because it looks great to me as well, so I'm not sure what's happening on his end then. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, so let's continue kind of where we stopped and where we stopped last night. I'm just gonna do one thing here quickly. Shit. Give me just 1 second. So I'm just gonna continue do one thing before we move on, and that's gonna be here. Let's add a cancel button here. So let's say here if it's, let's just do something like this. Let's say if it's data. Let's just say cancel. And yeah, let's start here. Let's start somewhere. So here we're gonna say if it's an update, then show the cancel button as well. And then let's just say here handle canceled. So handle cancel. And yeah, this is not gonna look great, but give me a second, and let's just, so we're gonna use this handle cancel, I guess, in several places. So let's handle cancel, yeah, and let's go over here and let's create handle cancel somewhere. Let's say const handle cancel, and let's say set is court editable false, set selected. Yeah, exactly. So we can see that actually this guy is quite useful. Okay, great. So I go edit, cancel, and it should cancel. Okay, let's just do a bit of styling there. Yeah, so outlined. Yeah, let's just zoom in. And yeah, that's good. Just figured that we don't actually have anything like that. Okay, great. So cancel that. So what did we write in this to do yesterday? So we have implement image, upload, sort lectures, preview, delete entire course. So essentially after we do those few things now, I think next thing we still need to do that reordering, right? So we need to reorder this list. And I wonder if we should just use drag and drop API manually instead of using some library. I'm not actually quite sure. Let's see. I don't remember. It's been very long since I used this. Shit, man, I swear to God that I actually built a library many years ago with this API. I just don't remember how I called it. But I'm like almost sure I built a library here. Drag. Drop. Shit, how did I call it? I'm like certain that I built a library. I just don't remember what it was. Well, okay, and then wait a minute. What was it we had? So we had few possibilities. We had this D&D kit, right? That's what we kind of started implementing, right? So should we do this, I guess? The main reason why I'm a bit reluctant, right, is because it's kind of way, it has way too many things, right? It's way too complicated for what we need, right? It just offers way too much stuff, and I just wonder... All right, maybe let's implement this, right? Let's maybe do this, right? So we need to do it anyway. So that, I mean, we need the functionality. So let's go and implement what we wanted a few days ago. So let's go to core. What was it? This is some sort of a list, right? So let's create our own core components. Let's call it sortable list. And yeah. How is it going? Sure. Good evening, buddy. I just started like 5 minutes ago, so it's going good. Just a long day at work and standard stuff. Been at work, then with my kid and my mother-in-law. My wife is at work, and yeah, I'm gonna hack with you guys here for 2-3 hours, and then see my wife when she's back from work. So standard stuff, man. Not nothing unusual to say, right? Standard stuff. All right, cool. And we're gonna do this in Storybook, right? So let's just say sortable list.stories.jsx. Vanix, my friend. Here he is. Good evening, buddy. I don't know where to put this. Let's say lists, and let's say sortable. Baz, good evening, buddy. Good evening. Good to see you again, man. Happy to see you that you came back. Did we actually export this fella over here? No, we didn't. Okay. You do kind of sound like a bot. You do sound like a bot. Ah, we are actually implicitly returning here. Okay, well, it's okay. So let's do this, and yeah, sortable list. Let's import it here. Yeah. And yeah, let's go over here. Let's cdf. Let's pm run storybook. Of course, you should take everything as a compliment from me. You've been here for too long not to give you a compliment, man. Let's open our storybook. Let's go to lists. Where's my lists thing? Lists. Yeah, here, sortable. All right, so here we're gonna be. Let me just answer that question. To be an indie developer, do I have to be a pro at Blender, or can I get by with just knowing how to program? I mean, Adam, I'm not a game developer, but I've been a developer for many years, and I did build some video games back when I was very young. I think that depends, right? I would highly advise you to buy assets, right? To buy 3D models or 2D models, or depending what type of game you're building. If you're building a pixelated game, then buy some pixel art and stuff. You definitely can't be both designing and programming, otherwise it's gonna take you anywhere between 2 to 5 years to build a game that nobody might even want to play, right? So you have to pick your battles, right? So you either code stuff or you design stuff, but if you choose to do everything, it's gonna be very hard, right? Game development is very hard, not in a technical sense. It's hard because you need all the assets, all the animations, all the stuff, and that takes time, right? So I would highly advise you to go to, there's few of those very popular things, right? There are few of those popular websites for game assets, right? Those kits go anywhere from $5 plus. So, you know, focus on building the game, focus on making the game fun, and then when the object that you're interacting with, you know, because technically it's all about gravity and velocity and object collision and stuff, so make the game fun. So don't worry about which pixel is flying. Is it a super cool looking dude, or is it just a square? Focus on building the game, because that's what sells. And if you can make some game that's fun, then you know, assets are not that important. You can literally build a whole game with boxes and circles and geometry, right? So that's how I would do it. And then, you know, if I have managed to build the actual functionality, then I would just replace those squares and triangles and stuff with actual assets, right? What we're going to be doing today, we're going to implement a sortable component here just so we can sort. So essentially, if we open our Draw.io, right? Give me 2 seconds. So if we open this fella, right? So essentially, the only thing so far I think we haven't done is those guys have to be sortable, right? So when you go to your dashboard, when you go this stuff here, you should be able to drag and drop, sort basically the lectures. You know, you might make something like this, like, so for example, I might make a new section, I don't know, section 3, whatever, right? And then inside of that section, I might have a lesson, whatever, something, and then few lessons. And then at one point, I maybe want to reorder them up and down, depending, you know, how I want them to be, right? So we're gonna implement just a generic component, because we so far haven't really needed a reordering or sorting in this project. So we're gonna isolate ourselves to the storybook as we are here, and yeah, that's what we're gonna start today, and let's see how far we go. I'm feeling good. I took a nap when I was putting my son to sleep. I slept for like an hour with him, so I got some energy back. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so sure. And Arcadia, my friend, good evening. Thank you for coming by. Good, man. Standard stuff. I think you got the drill. So for all this time you've been around. Okay, so quick start. Let's kind of use this. Let's hopefully we can just not spend almost any time on this. I certainly don't want to be spending time on this crap. So let's see. So we know that we'll need this context, right? So there's no questions about that. So instead of me wrapping my whole application in this context, I just want to start by just making this single component to do that, right? So let's I don't want to wrap my whole app inside of this provider, because I don't find that necessarily very useful, right? Okay. Loharski, buddy, good evening to you as well, man. Thank you for coming by all those evenings. Okay, let's actually read now, and let's be pragmatic here. So, okay, let's understand this D&D kit. I've never really used this library before. Let's actually give those guys a star. That's at least that effort is worth that much. Okay, next let's set up your first droppable component. That's basically the right. I document everything. I think depending which documentation you're referring to, I guess you're referring to Swagger. I think you're referring to this, and this is OpenSpec API, right? And I'm using Fastify Swagger. Basically, Fastify has this Swagger support extension, which utilizes JSON schema. So I get Swagger for free, which is why it's amazing, right? Yeah, this is OpenSpec API. So basically, Swagger is a tool that utilizes OpenSpec API specifications. Swagger is not the only tool that exists to render OpenSpec API spec, but basically this spec is just a definition on how you can structure and document, for instance, your endpoints in this case, right? So, but it's called Swagger. Yeah, it's a very old tool. I think I've used Swagger literally a decade and a half ago for the first time. So it's a very, very old tool and very known. And I get it kind of for free under quotes because it comes as a side effect of Fastify. So in Fastify, since you're validating all of your input and output using JSON schema, yeah. Well, actually, if you remember how my so you see all of my endpoints, right? Sure, all of my endpoints are validated by JSON schema, right? And Swagger is using those objects to generate itself, in this case, to generate the actual OpenSpec API YAML files underneath, right? So, but as you can see, I'm not really thinking about Swagger when I'm doing this. I'm validating my input and output and stuff, and then I get Swagger for free because Swagger then utilizes. So every time I validate my input, Swagger takes that and says, oh, okay, so you're saying that your body takes this, your response 200 looks like this, etc., etc., right? So yes, it is automatic in a sense that it's a side effect of my validation. I'm not, generally, you know, if you don't have support like this, you would have to open YAML files and you would have to write, actually you can see that very easily, I can show you. So if you actually want to learn a little bit about OpenSpec API, right, you can go here to tools, right, and you can go to this Swagger editor, right. You can also install this editor in your VS Code. VS Code has a Swagger stuff as well. But you can go here and say try Swagger editor, right? So you can go, my pleasure, man. You can, this is a very interesting, and if you don't know about this, everybody should know about Swagger, right? So you can see here that actually they have a new one, apparently. Let's see. So you can see here, so this is generally how Swagger looks like. You have this YAML format, which is representation of this OpenSpec API. And then here, this is the output, the UI output of the spec over here, right? Yeah, fair enough, man. But yeah, you have to just go to Swagger, basically. It's a free open source tool, right? So it's an absolute must, right? Right, you can see that every single endpoint that I have as a side effect, right? I use Node.js. I use Fastify library or framework, and which is basically Node.js. Alrighty, so let's kind of make it a bit more mixed tonight. So I actually yesterday we haven't almost done any work. And it kind of feels bad when that happens, right? Okay, so instead of putting things in different files for now, let's just kind of let's just put everything here in a single place, and then we're gonna break it down just so we don't jump context too much, right? So let's just do this, and then let's do this, and then we're gonna break it down in 10 minutes from now, so we don't jump back and forth too much, right? So basically, droppable is obviously, as its name suggests, an item that we're going to be dropping, and then draggable is the item that we're going to be dragging. All right, so let's do this, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that, right? Draggable, droppable, great. Okay, great. Okay, And then this is apparently right there. Yeah. So this is what they're suggesting me to have in my actual list, right? So let's just make this work. That's what your goal should always be. Make stuff work, and then once it works, then so you can't be doing 6 things at once. You can't be trying to align 500 different things, right? So make things work, and then yeah, then adjust them, la 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 la, right? Let's do this. And now if we would go to our storybook, technically, unless something is messed up, so we can see that, yeah, so now we have basically some drag and drop, right? And that kind of works, right? Okay, so and we actually need this sortable thing, right? So the sortable presents providers the sortable preset provides the building blocks to build a sortable interface. So this is pretty much what we need, right? We need to be able to sort, right? Sortable context, yeah. Architecture, yeah. So this pretty much looks like what we need, right? Yeah, yeah. Just so much crap, man. Like, do we need to read all of these sensors? I don't care about that, man. Sorting strategies, collision detection algorithm, connecting all the pieces. Okay, so let's try this, right? So let's instead what we had there. So we're gonna actually try this stuff. So let's go back here and let's import all of this stuff, right? This is pretty much what we actually need. So I think it would be super nice that we, let's see, sortable list. We do this. And then let's take this sortable item that they have, right? And we're gonna just put it in the same place, right? So we're actually gonna get rid of all of this junk, right? VCs. Good evening, brother. Okay, let's go to our storybook again. Let's see if it seems to be a failed to fetch and import sortable stories. Sortable list, sortable item. Let's see what's happening. Sortable list. Let's see, did we actually install those dependencies? Let's go to package.json. So we did install that, yes, CSS. I guess we didn't install this crap, and we're gonna install it just so we can actually make this work, and then we can get rid of that, right? So let's just say pm this, and then once we make it, how do you compile C# code? I'm not sure. What do you mean how? You click on compile icon, right? And make sure that you have set up your compiler properly, right? So make sure that your build target and your CPU and stuff are set properly, right? All right, so, well, what the hell? There is something here, at least, I think. Ah. Okay, so this is what we want. Perfect. That's great. That is perfect. That's pretty much what we want, right? Sort of, yeah, literally what we want. I mean, I cannot tell you that, man. What do you mean, how do you set up a compiler? You go to Visual Studio Code documentation and read it. I'm not sure, like, you're giving us absolutely zero information. Nobody can help you like that. I cannot help you when you just come here and say, hey, it doesn't work, right? That's impossible. Okay, so this kind of almost works, right? It's just, so we need some sort of a handler, I guess. And let's go back here, right? Connecting all the pieces. In this example, we'll be building a vertical sortable list, so we'll be using vertical sorting strategy. Jesus Christ, man. Pointer sensor. So complicated, man. So complicated. Okay. Well, that's what it is. That's how it is, right? Okay. So let's grab all of this stuff. Let's again put it here. We'll need this use sensor imported from somewhere, I guess, and then use sensors as well. Pointer sensor, keyboard sensor. Okay, I guess. Okay, so what we're basically most likely doing here, right? What we're probably doing here, right, is we are making sure that you can do this both on mobile and on desktop, right? So that's why it has all of this gibberish, right? Handle event track. Yeah. Oh my god, man. So complicated. So complicated. Like, so much stuff. Unreal. Unreal, man. Like, okay. Export const. Then we have the sortable item as well. Let's just smack it in here. And hopefully this concludes the functionality that we need. I hope so, at least. Sortable item. Yeah. And then we have this thing with, I don't actually know what it is, but let's see. Let's see where is this used. Yeah. And then we'll break this down into other things. Item has already been declared. Yeah, okay. And I guess here it's complaining about display name, right? So just say this display name is item, right? Yeah. And then they have a typo here, I guess, or something. Sortable item value. Which value? Yeah, it seems that their example is a bit messed up here, but doesn't actually matter. I guess what they meant is... Yeah, we'll see. Let's just say hi here. Alright. Let's get back here. Is there anything shown? No. Array move. What is this? Okay. There's no errors, at least. Okay, good. So let's see what's happening. So what is this? So what are we supposed to see now? Sortable context. Man, it's so freaking complicated, man. Jesus Christ. Like, do we need to learn the whole API to build a list we can sort? Like, Jesus, man. Sortable. So this is our sortable item. which takes this forward ref here, right? So do we actually need, can we just, give me 2 seconds here, where is this sending? Yeah. All right, never mind. So we have something here, right? Let's see why our props in this thing. Let's see which props are we actually getting here. I see. Let's just see how this works. Let's see what those attributes are. Okay. I see. Okay, so nothing actually we care about. Let's see what the props here are. Okay, so the props are the IDs actually. Okay, I see. Okay, so so what we could do here is we could do some sort of a render prop or something, right? So we could do like, yeah, I mean, we could do that and then, yeah. And then here, I guess we could say children, right? Then let's see, can we sort that now? And I guess we can, right? Yeah. So that's kind of functionality we want, right? Now what we can actually do is we can just call a function here or some sort, right? So we can say, okay, let's just say we'll loop through the items. Okay, I see. No, all good. It's fine. So let's imagine that our items had a bit more stuff in them, right? So where's our items array? Here, right? So let's make this an array of objects. Let's imagine we had 2 objects, right? And they had something, right? So they had some IDs, and that's okay, right? So it has ID of 1, and then, yeah, then something else, right? Let's say so since this is a list, right, what could be useful that we pass here? I guess it would be more useful if we pass an actual component rather than some hard-coded tag, because we want to make this component generic, right? Give me 1 second here, just my CTO is writing on Slack just to make sure it's nothing urgent. Nice. Okay, great. I'll just need to review some code later for my CTO. Okay, so okay, perfect. So okay, I get it. I think so. I think we're at the good place now. I think this is pretty much what we need. So we will not be adding any more complexity to this. So this is good. Let's now try to understand it a bit. We don't need to understand it fully. I'm not going to be getting into their strategies, into their whole API, because this is super convoluted and super complicated, right? and I don't actually care about this. So what are we actually going to be doing here? Give me 1 second. So we have this sortable item that then calls this item, which is a forward ref thing, right? So let's first minimize that complexity. It's too much, right? It's way too much, right? So can't we just make this guy already a forward ref, right? I think that would be more, that would be probably better, right? So let's just say here const sortable item is equal to this, right? So let's do that as a first step. And can't we just do something like this, right? So let's pretty much do the same thing like here, right? And let's just add something like this, right? Now it's complaining that it's again missing this display name, right? And we can, so let's just actually say here function sortable item, and then let's remove that lambda function from here, right? Let's see what happened now. And then yeah, and instead of returning this stuff, right, let's comment that out, and let's just say return div height. Just again, we want to, yeah, okay, great. That's good. Okay, so that's already simpler. We don't need this crap here, I guess. We'll see. I'm not actually sure yet. And where is that array of things that we hard coded? Where's the items? Yeah, here, right? So let's say, yeah, let's say that those items are actually going to be just React nodes instead, right? Maybe. Let's say something like this, ID1. And then let's say something like components. And then we'll see. Let's just figure it out. And then whatever the component is, right? We don't actually care. So let's say something like this, right? And we want to do this, right? Because if we're going to build this sortable list so we can use it across this whole project, we want to make sure that we don't constrain ourselves to some like object structures that we always then have to pass. Like I don't want to be saying here title, right? Because in some other occurrence of this component, we might want something else. But if we just pass it a node like this, then we can, you know, make it fully generic, right? Okay, and then yeah. So if we go down here, then yeah, so this thing here actually now has an item, right? And it's going to be item dot ID. This is also going to be ID, and then the component is going to be, let's just literally say it here, component or whatever, item dot component, right? And then if we get over here somewhere, where were we over here, right? Then we can say I guess it would be children dot components, right? We'll see. Or not really. Actually, let's see what the props are. I don't think I guess it's going to be props dot components, right? Yeah. Well, not quite yet, but let's see. So let's see what's happening. Chica, good evening, buddy. It's going really good. Well, I mean, it's going, right? Let's just put it that way. It's going, right? And that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters. And let me just print those props. So print the props. Let's get over here. Let's go to console. Yeah, so indeed we do get what we think that we're getting, and then we get a component, which is a function, right? So are we supposed to actually, give me 2 seconds, are we supposed to invoke this? I think yeah, so we're supposed to invoke that, and that's great. Can we actually still do? We still have drag and drop functionality? Not really. It doesn't seem so, right? But let's see what's happening. And then let's also give it all this, right? So I guess we have to pass this div all of this internal stuff, which we don't know yet what it does. A bit, what? Okay, let's try that. Item is not defined. Okay, and then it's complaining about this fella over here, I suppose, right? ID, active ID, okay. And maybe that's why we had that item at the first place. But let's see, sortable. What if I give it sortable item here? Prop.components is not a function. Yeah, and now it's complaining that it's missing some of those props here, right? And that kind of sucks. Okay, I see. So thank you very much for the follow, Franco. But yeah, so the drag and drop still works. I don't actually know what we just did there. Give me 1 second. Set active ID. And this was just drag overlay. So this is just some of their API. I don't know, right? As long as you're enjoying it and you're getting something out of it, just go for it. Even if you rewrite it, you know, 3,000 million times, right? It doesn't really matter, man, right? Just keep on hacking and learning, and that's all that matters. Okay, so well, at least now we know why we need that shitty little component, right? So let's go and find where that actually was. Where did we get that from? That little item thing, right? That we got. Yeah, this guy, right? It seems we actually need this, and it's fine in a way, right? We are now trying to figure this library out to the extent where we can use it. So emphasis is on that, right? I don't actually care about their API at all, because I'm not. So I'm just gonna do this. Then I'm gonna get rid of that, right? And then yeah, and then just as we had it before, right? We're pretty much gonna do this, right? And then over here we're gonna say props.component, I guess, same thing. But then we now have to get rid of this forward ref stuff, right? We'll need to get rid of all of this pretty much, I guess, right? Then of this, right? Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Let's see where we got with this. Probably nowhere yet. Yep, nowhere. Let's say here something high. Which font are you using? I'm using, give me 1 second. Electron JS has a renderer process and the main process. And renderer process, you can render whatever you want with it. Any renderer process is just Chromium, so of course it does. You can render whatever you want with it. Yes. Yes. So of course you can. Yes, you can render any front-end library in the renderer process of Electron. Sortable item passes all of this. Sortable item props, yes, props.components. Ah, I see. Well, give me 1 second actually here. What? Yeah, working on the courses, Leo, yes. And good evening, Max. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here, guys. As always, very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, good. So that was that. I see. Props component is not a fucking function. Okay, that's okay. And then yeah. we're looping through that, we're passing that, yes. Then we have our sortable item, we have this thing to which we're passing for. It just feels wrong, right? I don't know, do we really need this crap is the question, right? And then array move, and this is, I guess, where, yeah, this is basically where the reordering happens, right? So this is kind of where our new state should be updated, and it's fine, right? So this kind of fucking sucks. I don't actually exactly. We didn't read that the docs, right? Like, it's just, why do we even need this crap? Is the question, right? Do we even need it, right? Is the question. Let me see. All right, so in a way, right? So maybe set active. Well, okay, yeah, maybe we need it, but so why is this not? Is this actually being called? So it is actually called, right? But it's not really updating them properly, right? And that's because we interesting. And let's kind of also simplify that. Let's get rid of all of this crap. I don't actually care about that styling at all. We're gonna do that a bit differently anyway. But actually we actually do need it. So we do need to use it because of how the library is built. Okay, well, all right. Well, let's then use it. So if we could just get to the point now, why is it not? So if we can get the actual sort properly working, right? Handle drag start, set active ID. So that kind of is cold. Let's just see what was this doing. From most source lists, we recommend you use drag overlay if your sortable list is scrollable or if the contents of the scrollable list are taller than the viewport of the window. The drag overlay component provides a way to render a draggable overlay that is removed from the normal document flow in its position relative to the viewport. The drag overlay also implements drop animations. A common pitfall when using this component is rendering the same component called sortable inside. Okay, so that's why I guess we have it. All right. All right. Well, okay. Let's close that. Where's this crap? Sortable items. So that's kind of what we did wrong, I guess, right? We need this fella here. So we need this. I guess that's what they are doing. Let's at least try to mimic that properly and then adjust. So app, this is their example. Yeah. Okay, sure. So let's get back here. Let's go to our storybook. And let's go to, let's get rid of this. So I guess this is kind of functionality more or less that we want. Let's just figure out. Let's just figure out why is it actually not updating the state, and I think then we're good. So okay, let's just try to simplify some stuff. So let's just say here props.id instead. So it's not about that. Okay. So let's revert that back. So set items is called, but for whatever reason, this is not actually updating our state, right? And are we sure that their example actually works? Alias, good evening, buddy. And their example was slightly different, right? Active ID. Okay, let's actually take a look at that. What is active ID in our case? Active.id, I see. Yeah, and let's actually just for a moment, just try to mimic it completely to how they have it. So one, they literally had something like this, strings, right? 1, 2, 3, I believe, right? Yeah. Yeah. Let's try to kind of get to that point as well. So we do this, we get rid of that, we do this, we do that. So now it actually works, right? Okay. So we can see that it's something. So when we change the structure of that stuff, it doesn't work. Okay. So let's revert and see why. So let's revert to what I changed it to, right? So we have something like this. Maybe those IDs have to be strings. Maybe that's how their API works. I don't think so. I hope not, but you never know, right? We don't know the API of this. Okay, not really good. So let's see what do we have. So use sensors function handle drag start. So let's see what do we get here as active. Maybe that's the issue. Active. Yeah. So let's now drag and see what we actually get. So we get active ID 3. We get the data sortable, whatever. Okay. Active.id. Okay, so let's actually, okay. And if we would get rid of those, if we would not make those integers strings, right? Let's try that, and let's see now if the active should be an integer now, a whole number, right? And it is. Okay, good. Just, that's fine. So let's leave that, so that's fine. Let's check this thing. Active ID over ID. So, well, to some extent, that's also fine, yeah. So that's also good. So I think that this is also fine. Old index, new index. Let's see this. Let's debug this. This is the problem, right? So this is where the bug is, because items now, okay, I see. So what we can actually do here, we can say something like this, const integer items is exactly, right? And then we can do something like this, I think, right? Almost, right? The only issue with, yeah, okay, and then, all right, let's not do it like this, but yeah, something like that, right? So let's say here items dot find instead, and then item, let's actually say here ID is active ID, right? And pretty much we do the same here, right? Over dot ID, right? Something like that, I think. Let's see now. And then, yeah, well, then we would find index, right? So find index, right? So let's try with the find index method, right? And there we go. Nice. Okay, cool. So now that sorting kind of works, right? Let me just get some water and some stuff. 1 sec. So that's actually okay now. So that's good. I think that's great, actually. That's great. Let's actually see what we get when we set the items. Let me just create some effect here, just so we can print the items when they... Yeah. Let's just print the items when we reorder. Well, let's print them every time, right? So, yeah. Beautiful. That's perfect. That's great, right? So we get the order now. Yeah, great. That's good. So so we can kind of see now the reason why this component we just made is so generic and so nice is that the only thing that really matters that this guy has, which is the item, is the ID. That's really the only kind of constraint. Now it can have this component, and it should, and that's also a nice thing, because now we can put whatever hell we want in one of those guys. We don't have to worry about some specific property names and stuff. You just pass some component in, and so you're gonna see in a moment how we're gonna achieve that, I think. So now, of course, it's up to us if we want to break this into different files or not. I actually don't want to do that now yet. Let's just leave it like this, and then we're going to improve it. And obviously now we have to make the sortable list itself take in those props. So let's do that, right? So obviously we're going to, this is going to have items and set items coming from the outside, right? So what we have to do, right? Let's take this out. Let's go to our story over here, right? And let's not implicitly return here. Let's just explicitly return, and then let's put this fella in here instead. Let's import use state here, right? And then let's, yeah, we need a few more things, obviously, right? And then, yeah, we need to pass the items, right? Items and set items. And probably, thank you very much for the follow, appreciate it. And probably we should kind of do some default props here, right? So let's say sortable list.default props, and I completely misspelled that, default props, I think. So let's say items is an empty array, just so we saw how it breaks when how the component breaks if you don't give it this stuff. And then let's just say null. Cool. Okay, so that should still work, and it does, right? Great. So what else would this generic component need? Probably a class name, right? So let's say class name, and this list somewhere in its parent, right? So we have this context, sortable context. How does it actually, which element does it render this in? So it renders it inside of a div, right? So each one of those list items is really a div. That kind of sucks, right? Is there a way to... Yeah. Well, that's actually let's fix that very quickly. There is BAS. The thing is, I'm using Redis, right? And I recently implemented. So I recently implemented the GitHub, Twitch, and LinkedIn logins. So I think I forgot when you sign up with one of those three, I forgot to push the user. I forgot to cache the registered user. You know what? Actually, let's fix that, right? And let's continue with the courses. Let's actually, because I was supposed to fix that already. So you can see we have this user's hash, and let's actually go to register, because I'm gonna fix that right away. That's a very good point. I actually saw that and I keep forgetting to do that, right? So let's fix that in the back end, and then we continue with the front end, right? So where did I do that? Here. Or I think actually I'm doing that. So here we are passing the cache. Yeah. Okay, so if we go to the model, I think here I have some hooks. So we have before update, right? La la la. So after create, I am actually doing that. The issue is though, and I know what the issue is, so it should be a fairly simple fix. We're not really passing the cache object like this. This is kind of a system that I implemented or invented here in my project. So actually, if we go now to auth and I guess index, here we have all of the stuff for that. So I think I can literally centralize this more or less inside of the create user. Yes. Yeah, I can do that. I'm pretty sure here, for instance, but we'll need a cache. So, okay, so let me just do that here. Then I can centralize it for all of the future strategies. So when we add more authentication strategies, we don't really need to care much about any of that. So actually, so we need to, so where this is user tag. So this is, oh, actually, no, what? So I am, what? So that's then wrong, because I am passing the hooks options cache here, right? So that should technically work. Let's see, am I passing it properly? Give me 2 seconds. I think I am. So here's the user that we create. I pass the hooks option cache, yeah. But let's see, maybe I'm passing, yeah, and then app.cache, yes. Yeah, so in my opinion, looking at this, how I implemented it, it's supposed to work, because this technically should still be calling after create hook. I'm saying if there's no hooks options, then return. Otherwise, do this and use the cache. Get the user, cache the user by the ID and then the username, right? Okay, let's see what could that be. Give me 2 seconds, because I know what the problem is. So the problem is that we can't cache at this moment, because when you're signing, so when you sign up, so yeah, shit, man, actually that's now a problem for all of the strategies, because yeah, that's what I basically forgot to do. So basically, right, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, we didn't have this all auth stuff, so I implemented each one of those manually, right? So you were registering with username already here. So here, when you would click register here, you would already provide a username, because we can clearly see here what the issue is. You can see here at this point, I'm saying map the ID of the user to the user's username. But there's no, at this point in time, user doesn't have a username yet. User has the username after you complete that intermediate step. If you remember, when you signed up, you clicked something, then you got into the screen that says, hey, developer, right? La la la. So we have to actually change that. So this is not going to work after create anymore. So that's not going to work anymore, right? Okay, so that's actually not going to work anymore, right? Because again, at this point, you don't have a username. You have a username basically at this point. So this ensures that you can't change username, email, and role, and that's fine, right? Okay, I have an idea. Easy, pretty easy stuff, right? Okay, so first and foremost, let's get rid of this stuff, because that's no longer going to be the case. Also over here, and then this after create really is not very useful to us anymore, right? But this will be useful. So what we're gonna do, actually, we're gonna take this stuff, we're gonna get rid of this hook, this equalize hook, And then what we're going to do, what is this? What is the error that it's complaining about? I guess, yeah. And then we're going to go to user update, right? So we're going to say user update somewhere. Are we in the users controller? Yes. Update user. Yeah, over here. And here we have to do it, right? Here we have to do it. Great. So this is where we kind of going to have to do it. But we don't really need to call this get because we already have a username and stuff. So we don't really need any of this technically. I think we should have app.cache.client hmset users. I think so, at least, right? Let me just review this. Why was I actually... I was just, okay, I was just basically trying to get... so yeah, I see, okay, all good, ID user. Okay, perfect. So I think that's actually really good. Let's just make sure that we're doing stuff properly. So yes. So we cache the user, then we update the user, and we only do this if the... so if the user doesn't have a username, so if you don't have a username set, you're basically into this intermediate state. You have chosen this username, you have passed this thing, so you didn't choose like a username that says test or Apple, because we have a bunch of reserved keywords, so you can't really... those are all of the reserved keywords that you can't use as a username, so that's good. Then here we grab the actual username, whatever, and then we cache. Now this ID is a bit problematic. Yeah, okay, no, actually it isn't, so request user, okay, good. Yeah, that's it, I think. I think this is it. And give me 2 seconds only, so app. So let's just destructure this. So, and let's just make sure that I'm doing this properly in a few other places, because I don't genuinely remember. Good. Yes, yes we are. Yes we are. Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that reminder. I actually forgot about it, and I've noticed it, and it kind of sucks ass. So let's kind of push this to production immediately. And then that stuff should no longer happen. No, not this one. So let's make sure we don't push the courses related stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to push that neither. Nope. So we have the courses stuff, we have this validation stuff. So technically the only changes we actually needed is, yeah, realizing that, and then centralizing stuff here. Actually, where is it? Ah, yeah, actually over here. Cache client. So this is basically our Redis cache. Nice. Okay. So properly cache user mapping after user finalizes the profile creation. Let's sync changes. Let's go to GitHub. Actions, let's see, let's make sure actually that we are not messing stuff up. Let's just review my own code again. Yeah, that's good. That's also good. Yeah, I think we're good. We're good. Let's just wait for this guy to deploy so we make sure that everything succeeds. Let's wait for my job to finish, and then let's check it out, and then let's get back to courses. Let me just stretch my legs. Okay. Thank you very much for the follow, Coffee Fee. Kofefe, it's like Donald Trump stuff. Wasn't that the shit that he said? What a legend. What a legend. Okay. Is this done yet? No. Come on, deploy. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I got it. Got it. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Make America great again. I have a professional coffee machine here at my home and also at work. So I drink like half-liter coffee a day, probably, at least. I love coffee so much. Come on, deploy it, man. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, of course. I mean, I know I was born in the Balkans, right? So I was drinking Turkish coffee for many years, and then since I moved to Scandinavia maybe more than 10 years ago, then I mean, you can buy Turkish coffee here as well, but yeah, you know, Greeks call it Greek coffee, Serbians call it Serbian Turks call it Turkish coffee, but it's Arabic coffee, right? So it's just called Arabica, right? Everybody, exactly. Everybody is calling it what they want, but 100%, yeah, definitely. Why is it deploying so long? Oh my god. By the way, we have Grafana and stuff. Shit, server is down because I guess I'm still deploying, maybe. Yeah, I'm deploying. Yeah, it's actually deploying slightly longer than usual. Okay, should be deployed now. Yeah, so this is our Grafana. Good. Let's check programmer network. Can I still log in? Yep. Okay, good. So it should be technically fixed now. So so if I go to Brian Bass, if I go to Bass and if I follow you, man, now, can you tell me, do you see the notification properly? Okay, good. So it's fixed. It should be fixed. I just left you a comment on your thoughts, so it should technically, you should see now stuff properly. Okay, great. Okay, let's see if my Grafana and stuff, this is the stuff I did over the weekend, if it's still kind of operating and stuff. It is. Beautiful. Okay, cool. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Let's get back. So where the hell were we? Okay, so we were doing this crap, right? Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah, so we were doing this, right? And that's that. Yeah, okay. So let's already, yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So let's try using this. Let's start using this now in the courses feature that we're building, and let's adjust this generic component we built as we go, right? We cannot make it perfect right away because we don't know how is it gonna feel when we start using it. So let's come here and let's try using it now. So basically we wanna put this stuff inside. This is gonna be our items basically, right? This is gonna be our items, right? And there's an unordered list here, so we'll need to kind of get rid of this, right? So we'll need to do this. We'll need to say a sortable list, right? We'll need to pass it some items, right? So we're going to say items, and the items themselves are going to be this. So this is going to be the items themselves, right? So let's literally say something like this. We're going to say section.course.lectures. Oops, that's not good. Section.course.lectures.map, right? Let's just say lecture here. And then here we're going to actually return pretty much an object. So it has to look like this, right? In this shape. It has to be an object that has a component, any other properties, and then it has to have an ID because we're using this ID. And we'll see about that. So we'll see how we want to implement it because this is our own project. So we can do it however we actually want, right? So let's say here for now, at least, let's say lecture, let's say ID, actually lecture ID. Let's spread the whole lecture because I do need the whole lecture anyway, I guess. We'll see. Let's say components, right? And component itself, it is a, and then let's paste this stuff, right? Obviously, it being li now no longer makes sense, so let's just turn it into another div. And let's see what happens if this makes any sense at all. I'm not running my API. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. All right, so let's go to dashboard courses. Let's see if it explodes. Okay, and we have, what is it called? User select or something somewhere. What was it? It's not user select. How was it called? Something select. What was it called? Because we can see that we can't quite drag it. Okay, let's experiment with it. Let's say here border, I don't know, rows 500 p4. Let's just make it ugly, but so we can actually see it. And then we're missing set items as well. I don't think that's an issue though, but let's give it a shot. So let's implement that, right? So yeah, let's come here and say const sort lectures. I guess something like this. Let's see what's happening now, if anything. So I think actually there's nothing to sort. Wait, we need to create at least 2 of them. Like there's literally nothing to sort. What the hell? Wait a minute. Yeah, sorry. Maybe it is working already. It's just we don't have a... I see. Okay, sortable list. Let's just leave that there. Okay, so let's add another lecture here. A whatever B. So this is a section. Let's add another D. Yeah, all right. So it is working. Okay, good. We just need to now, yeah. And if we actually come here, great, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's just make sure of one thing. So the only thing that we actually, so where is our set items? Sortable item, la 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 la. Where are we? Where are we? Yeah, so set items is here. And it's a function that returns this, which is basically okay. So it seems to me that, right, we need to, so when this actually happens, let me try one thing, right? Let's try something like this. Right, something like that. And then technically, right? Then technically, because it doesn't actually make sense to pass set items from the outside anyway, I guess. So we get this callback inside of set items. I see, okay. So we get a callback inside that returns something, right? Okay, actually, before I do anything, give me a second. So we get a callback that, where were we? So we're here basically, right? Or what do we actually get? Give me a second here. So no, actually, so it should be fine. Our items should actually change. Give me a second. Yeah, so actually let me get rid of this. Ignore me for now. Yeah, let's actually not do this. So when this is cold, yeah, exactly. So let's see. So let's get over here somewhere. And let's print use effects. Yeah, items. I see, So my bad, right? Okay, all good, all good. Well, it's not really good, but it's good, but it's not. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, it's Face, my friend. How are you doing? So essentially, this has to be a state, right? So when so this has to actually get updated, right? So in simple words, right? What we really need to do, right, is we need to kind of normalize this data under quotes somewhere when we actually set it initially. Wait, when do we do that? Just player PT, thank you very much, man. So do we have some use effect here or whatever? Or how do we get those items here? Course. Oh, get course. Okay, so somewhere over here we're gonna do that. Yep. Okay, I see. I see. So essentially we just need to figure out, right? Like, so when this happens, we need to update the courses. So we need to update that substate of a course, right? So that's a bit, that's the only thing we need to do really, right? So where is our course? So I guess we do have set course somewhere. So we have set course, yeah, and we set the course when we actually, when we get it, right? When we fetch it from the API, yes. Okay, I know what we have to do. All right, I see. Okay, so what we actually have to do is, okay, let's attempt that. Where is it? So here, right? So here we're gonna say set items actually, right? Give me 2 seconds. So what this is going to do basically when it gets called, it's going to take the items, and items, well, we're just giving it lectures, right? So we have to take the course itself, and then we have to update that section's lectures, right? So the thing is, yeah, we have to kind of do a bit of work here, right? So first and foremost, right, we need to know which section it is. So let's create sort lectures by section ID. So here we can pass in the section ID. Jace, my friend, good evening, right? And then here we're gonna do something like Riddler, thank you very much, man, appreciate it. So here we're gonna be doing that. So but we're gonna have a higher order function here instead, right? So what we're actually gonna do, we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna return another function, right? And the items are actually gonna be passed down here. No, that's not what we want to do, right? And then here we want to say items, and then we're gonna say set course, right? And then we're gonna say spread the existing course, loop through the sections. Yes, exactly, something like that, yes. Wait, what is it complaining actually about now? I don't know. But something like this, yeah. So wait, set course. That's the, no, it's fine. Set course, we have an object here, I guess. Are we missing something like this? No, we're not. Yeah, this fucking Copilot, man, is sometimes just so bad. It pisses the living hell out of me, man. I swear to God, like, so freaking bad sometimes. How bad can it be, right? It's like supposed to help, and then it does this crap. Jesus Christ, man. So freaking annoying sometimes. All right, and this is not gonna be like this, actually, not at all, but it's fine. But I just want to try something, but it's not gonna be like this, no. And let's just take it out so we can print it easier. So just say update is this, and let's pass it here. This is just preparing it so we can actually learn how we want to use this new generic component we built. But it's not, and this is gonna fail now for sure, I'm sure. So if we go down here, right, now we want to say, where is it? Set items, right? We give it this, and then we say section ID. Fucking Copilot, man. Jesus Christ. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so now it's failing and it's okay. Which section did we try updating? Yeah, and now it's basically now it's returning that function, right? So okay. And let me actually go back down here. So set items. Okay, let me try one thing. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it, Hugo. Let me just try something, right? Okay, so we have that. No, wait. Let me see. We have the items. Set items. Yes, that's the outer stuff. Yeah, exactly. So now, technically, when this actually side effect changes, it should give me back the actual items and not that function, right? Yeah, there we go. Exactly. I think that was not a bad assumption. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, good. We need to obviously now work with this more. Okay, good. What I'm actually just gonna do, just to make sure of one thing. Okay, so yeah, so now we can sort them and stuff, and that's pretty cool, and we'll need some indicator of that. So we'll add that as well in a second. Let's actually do that right away. So let's go to style components. Let's search for drag indicator, right? That sucks ass, all of them. Let's search more, drag. Okay, screw you, I'm not gonna pay for it. All right, let's grab this stuff and let's put it as part of our icon library, right? Right, let's see. Let's grab this stuff. Let's go to our front end, right? Let's go to source assets images svg. Let's say drag.svg. Then we're gonna turn that using our svgr library. We're gonna turn that into a React component as always, right? Fill current color, sure, class. We're gonna clean that up. Thank you everybody for your follows. Seriously, DT code. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Let's go here. Let's go to CD. Let's go to TDF. Let's say something icons. I don't remember my script name. Yeah. And this is basically going to convert this SVG to my React component. I have a script doing that. So all of those things are, and now as I have my own core library that I built, now I can pretty much just say here, let's just import that drag, how we call it drag. You can see it's already in my icon library. And that's amazing. And then let's say class name width of, I don't know, 6. Let's see. And now if we go back here, we should actually be seeing it. Good, we are. Let's make this fella over here flex, and let's say gap 2 or 1. Item center, I guess, right? And I think we should make the actual, yeah, so this kind of sucks a bit now, right? I think we should be making the icon itself draggable and not the item itself, because you can by accident do this, right? So I think we should be just making the icon itself draggable, right? And to do this, we would need to actually add this drag icon elsewhere, right? So if I do this, right? Let's see how easy or hard that's going to be considering this, right? So we have sortable context here, right? Well, yeah, I'm not quite sure if I want to do that now. So maybe we'll just go with this. And then we can say here, fill base 200 or something. Let's see, or 100. No, that's too much. So let's say fill gray. Yeah, Oleus, thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. All right, so yeah, so something like that, right? And then obviously what we want to do, I guess we want to say, hey, you should not be able to drag and drop if, you know, if there's only one item. Like, what are you going to drag and drop, right? That makes no sense. So probably somewhere in this new thing that we've built, right? We should probably be able to say that, right? Let me just try one thing here. Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so basically we can say, yeah, no, we can't say it in here though, right? So set node ref is coming from there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really now up to those details, right? 25 gold, good evening, buddy. So it's really up to those details now how we want to do it. And how far we want to go with this, right? I guess we don't want to go too far now, because let's focus on actually building the functionality instead, right? So let me go to my Swagger. Let me search for sort or order, or actually sort, right? Let me see what does my endpoint actually expect. So this is what we should actually construct, right, instead. Discord theme, do you mean VS Code theme? So this is what our API actually expects. So if we go somewhere, I guess over here, Discord theme. I don't know, man. I don't know much about Discord, to be honest. Let me see. Discord theme. Oh, some people joined. Nice. Thank you very much for joining our Discord, guys. Discord, did you also sign up to production? I wonder. Let me see. Okay, nobody. Well, yeah, please, if you're new to this and you're going to be watching me code, please feel free to go and just sign up there. I would highly appreciate it. Thank you. What is the theme? Let's take a look, man. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. How do I even check that? Edit server profile. User settings. I don't know where user setting is, man. My account, maybe. Ah, here it is. Okay, I guess Chroma Glow. It's called Chroma Glow, I guess. Yeah, it's this one. Let me actually try some other. But hey, it's called Chroma Glow. I just switched to Neon Nights. I didn't even know that I did this. I don't care, honestly. I don't even know that I changed the theme. I don't, yeah. So, but it's under appearance, right? So that's good to know. Well, there you go, man. Chroma, what was it? Okay, so let's construct. So we need to construct the ID and... Do you have special plugin to set it? Yes, correct, I do. It's called background. Let me show you. So it's called background. It's this one basically. I think it's this one. There's several one of them, right? But I think I'm using this one. It's Fastify JS. Express is obsolete, so no, it's not Express. Okay, so let's go back here and let's continue this. Okay, so going back here, right? So going back here, right? So here we basically have to construct something. So what we are actually constructing here is actually accurate for the local state. So that this is indeed. So when I drag and drop this, then it should, right? But we can see in my Swagger, right, that this is what we actually have to send to the API. So pretty simple. I think we're almost there. So let me just paste my payload here. So what was it that my API expects, right? So it's this, okay? So we basically have to additionally here in sort lectures by section ID, we have to set the local state, but then we also have to hit our API, right? Yeah, so let's do that, right? So yeah, so out of this update, right, we're going to construct another array, and this array is going to have basically this. So pretty much, so let's say here const body or something. Let's see, we'll figure out. We'll say update.map, right? Section, and we pretty much we can implicitly return here. We could say ID section ID, and then order section.order. So this is kind of what I wrote in my API, right? If we go to somewhere, if we actually go to courses.controller or course controller courses controller sort lectures, right? We can see that it actually accepts yeah, the order and the ID, right? Okay, thank you very much for the follow, which actually means that what we actually going to do in the front end, just so we can make this component generic for us, for programmer network, I'm not going to make it generic for everything. I'm not going to open source this library, right? I will actually make sure that every time I use this sortable list, that it always uses the order property, not the ID of the item, I guess, but I'm not, let's see about that. I'm not quite sure. So let's just think that through for a moment here. Okay, give me just 1 second. I just want to check one thing, right? I think I have an idea. I think it's fine. So if we get over here, before we actually do this, right, let's just print the update again. We need to basically update the order properties of each thing, and we're going to update them by the index in which they are, right? So for instance, if I do this, right, if I drag this one here, this DDDDD should have now, let's see, this is A, yeah. So you can see that the order now of this guy should actually be 2, should be 0. I actually don't remember if it's 0. If it's 0, let's actually check in my database here, in my database view. So if I go to course lectures, is it? So no, actually, so it's not 0 index, it's 1. Okay. Okay, so which means that then that so here, I guess what we have to do as well is we have to say items dot map exactly, right? And then we don't want to mutate directly. Yeah. Okay, so this tool is actually sometimes useful. So this is exactly what we need, right? So now technically this should give us what we want. Let's take a look. Yeah. And the order of DDD now should be 1. Well, we're gonna make it to be yeah. and the other one should be 2. Okay, great. So that's pretty good. Let's just say here +1. Right. Okay, good. That's really good. That's really good. And are we actually using order down in the JSX, or are we using .id? Thank you very much, Moshiko, for your follow. So we're actually not using anything. So we're not ordering them right now by anything, and that's okay. We're gonna do that in a moment. Okay, good. Okay, great, great, great. So we're kind of getting there. I think we're almost there, nearly there. And let's print now the body instead, because this is what our API expects, right? So let's take a look. What is it complaining about? So can you tell me top backend frameworks? That's a very general question, man. Sorry, that's a very general frameworks of what language, what environment, what for, right? Frameworks for what is a backend, right? Which backend? Backend is a very broad term, right? Fastify, Nest.js, and that's it, pretty much. Happy.js maybe still. I didn't use Happy.js for many years now, but thank you very much for the follow. Yeah, of course we can't do this clearly, right? Because I think I've pasted it up there. You have it in the thing, yeah. Okay, so eventually, so this is gonna eventually happen. So that's good. So pretty much the only thing we really need to do is so let's just say something like this: const body is update.course sections.find, and then we're gonna say section and then we're gonna say ID, right? And we're gonna say ID is section ID. I don't know how that came in there, but either way, that's how it is. And then we can map here instead. No, this is actually going to be an object, right? So this is going to actually find the section, and then we can say dot course lectures dot map. Exactly. So this is kind of what we want to do, right? And then we print the body. And obviously you can see this is called prematurely, and it shouldn't be, right? But that's a different issue, right? So we'll see about that, because if we would leave this now, if we would add if we would call our API from this now, it would obviously call it like several times, right? And that's because of the nature of how we implemented this, right? So that's a bit problematic now. So we're almost kind of there. We can see that we're getting, so we are now at the place where we actually do have. So if I would reorder this stuff, right, we are actually getting. So if I would call the API now, this ordering would work and we're good, right? It's just we need to kind of fix this now, because yeah, this now works, but yeah. Because this is an asynchronous thing, right? Drag end, exactly. Cookie Cake, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Give me just 2 seconds. I need to think. I have no idea what you're talking about, man. Honestly, no offense. Okay, yeah. So that's the last thing we gotta do, right? We pretty much only have to, so right now this effect obviously is called every time, right? Because we don't have any kind of dirty checking or anything. So every time this reference changes or whatever, which changes on every re-render, this is gonna fire. So we can't have it like that right now. So let's actually see the alternative. So if we get rid of this and then we do this, right? We would now have to kind of wait somehow for this because this is a callback, right? So essentially, let's take this out literally, right? So let's put it here. Let's say const function, let's say const update items or whatever, right? Is this kind of how it was, right? Yeah, exactly. So this gets the actual function itself, right? I host it on Hetzner. I host it on Hetzner. So this is kind of where I host it, right? On Hetzner, I'm paying for so this is what I'm paying for. No, not this one. It's a bit cheaper one. Give me a second. So where was it? I think it's CX41 that I'm paying for. Give me 1 second. No, it's not this one. Shit. Thank you very much, Cookie Cake. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. So if I open this stuff, right? This is basically my infrastructure, right? So I'm running all of the programmer network on Hetzner, right? I'm running my front end on Cloudflare pages, right? I'm using a universal firewall on the host level, and then I'm using firewall on the Hetzner level. Then I have an Nginx proxy, but everything is behind Cloudflare IP ranges, right? So the only traffic that can get to my server is through Cloudflare, right? And that's because I do additional rate limiting and stuff on Cloudflare. Then I have Grafana, which is also restricted to my IP only. So all of this thing here. So basically, if I go to Grafana now and Prometheus, right? This is restricted to my IP here in this room. And this is, right? So this is the dashboards monitoring and stuff, right? Wait, that's not it. So yeah, so this part here is my internal kind of dashboards, right? Nginx essentially is just a reverse proxy, load balancer, rate limiter, but again, a fallback if you know, right? I don't need free tiers. I think If you want to do a project and you can't afford $5-10 a month for a database, then don't do it, honestly. Just my 5 cents. And then I have my Fastify API, which is API Programmer Network, that I have a Redis and Postgres, right? But I'm self-hosting everything, right? So all of this is my infrastructure, and I'm running this with Docker, right? So I'm running this with Docker, and that's how it is. And then I'm using AppSmith for internal dashboards, because when you're building a startup, when you're building a product, well, I mean, self-hosting stuff is cheap, money-wise, but it's expensive time-wise, and it's hard, and I've been doing this for 20 years almost, right? So there's a lot of stuff you have to do, so it's remotely safe, right? So that's why GCP, AWS, Azure, etc. That's where they come in. You pay a bit more, but you don't worry about SSL certificates, cron jobs, security, etc., 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 right? So it really depends what you're doing and how much money you have, and etc., etc., right? So if you can afford the cloud, AWS, GCP, Azure, always go for that, always. Because you want to build the product, not the infrastructure. As I always say in this stream, nobody gives a shit about your infrastructure. No user comes to your website and says, oh my God, this website is so fast. It's expected that every website is fast. So no user comes to your website and buys your product because your website is fast. Nobody comes to programmer.network and says, oh my God, this page loaded so fast. Nobody, right? After Stack Overflow is gone, which platform do people use for job hunt? To be very honest, because Fastify is better in every single way. And Express is obsolete, it's old, it's slow, it's barely maintained, etc., 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 right? What the fuck happened here? This is a bit strange. So when it comes to job hunting, I must admit, man, and I don't really know, because I haven't been applying for jobs in many years. I mostly get, references, like job offers by references from the people that I worked with all over those years. So I don't know when was it last time that I actually applied for a job. It's been probably 7-8 years, right? But I think that no matter what, I think LinkedIn is probably your best bet. If I am applying for jobs, I would probably do it on LinkedIn, right? Most likely. Guy from Mars, good evening, my friend. How is life? Okay, so yeah, so this is a bit problematic. So what the hell do we do? Handle, drag, end. So how do we get this stuff out, man? That's now. So wait, this event, this asynchronous stuff is gonna end, and then we're gonna call this. So the only way I see it right now is that we need some sort of dirty checking or something. But even with that, it's kind of gonna suck, right? So that's the only problem right now that I see with this. Where's my stuff? Dude, like, where's my bloody browser? Here. So yeah, so we can't really say that this is finalized now, this one, because we can't really do this, because you can see now this effect is going to run several times, right? we could minimize this stuff somehow. So let's introduce some stuff here, right? So let's go to this sortable list, or actually let's get over here, right? All right, let's ask ChatGPT. I think I'm tired. It's almost midnight here. My brain is starting to shut down. Okay, so let's try to get some help. Yeah, let's give it this whole thing. New chat. Given this sorting list components in React, how do I ensure that the set items What's the time there, Alexander? It's 11. It's almost 11:15 p.m., right? So I came back from work today at like 4:30. Put my kid to sleep around 8 and stuff. So it's it's quite a yeah. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. I work at Dream Data. I work here. And of course, you can ask anything, man. There's absolutely nothing confidential about me. You can also go to my LinkedIn. I think it's somewhere in the description. Okay. Okay, let me try one thing. Handle drag end, handle dart start. Something like that, maybe. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know, honestly. I am using Redux Toolkit, yes. Ah, shit, this is why. I am using it, yes. You're absolutely right. I'm not using it for this feature here specifically, but for a lot of global state and stuff, yeah. Okay, I think I actually nailed it with this, maybe. Let's see. And then basically here we have to say set is drag ended false, right? So I think this potentially could fix what I wanted. Yep. There we go. Okay, great. There we go. Yep. Let's just make sure it's correct. Yes. Yes, correct. Okay, great. So now actually with adding this, so this effect is no longer running when it shouldn't. So that's good. And yeah, that's perfect. I think that's what we needed. It just took me a while to conceptualize it in my head, right? And now essentially we could just call, so we could make this asynchronous, right? Let's wrap this whole beast of a function in a try catch, right? Using regular Redux is also fine, right? That is perfectly fine. As long as it serves as long as it serves the purpose, right? Oh, absolutely. What is this return? Where is this return coming from, man? I think it's a bad copy paste. What is this? Return items. The fuck is this, man? Where is this coming from, man, dude? What the hell? Oh shit, my bad. Sorry. All good. All good. I forgot that I made this a higher order function, right? Which Redux you use and what you use, which state management you use, right, is absolutely relevant. So don't stress about that. As long as it does, you understand why you're using it and you're not overusing it or using it just because you want to use it, it's all good, right? At the end of the day, state management is, for the most part, always the same, right? No, it's not. This is not an open source project, no. Okay, what the hell did I not? What did I do? Did I mess something up? It seems that I did. Got it. Fair enough. Dude, what the fuck just happened here? Ah, it's because asynchronous, yeah. It's for programming discussions. So if you want to tweet about programming, then yes. Can you hate on other people on it? No. Can you discuss politics on it? No. The reason why I'm building this platform is exactly so some people can escape from everyday terror of those existing platforms, of needing to think about all of this woke bullshit and all of this crap, right? So that's why I want to have a platform where I can go and just discuss about programming, learn things, teach people things, watch courses, etc., right? It's just about programming, right? I think there's enough of hate on the internet already. You can find platforms to talk bullshit like on so many places, right? Yeah, exactly. Guy from Mars. Yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, I think if you take a look at our roadmap, right? If you like go here, right? This is what I recently added. Just so right now, right, we're building this. So right now we're building the courses, right? So people can write courses and stuff. Next thing we're gonna be doing is projects. So for example, Guy from Mars wants to do his own project. He's looking for developers. You're gonna have project boards so you can post your project and try to find a co-founder and stuff. So right, we're gonna be doing all of this stuff, right? Eventually, we're going to have this and more, hopefully. But we're going to start introducing companies and stuff once we try to make value for us developers. So the question is, how do we make this platform so it's valuable to us, right? To you, me. I mean, I'm building literally this for myself. Before I think about any of you, I'm building this platform because I want to use it, right? So every single day when I'm standing here in front of you guys, I'm thinking, okay, what the hell could I build so it's useful for me, right? So I'm not building this to sell it to someone. Like, I'm building it first and foremost for myself, and then, right? I mean, we could do it, Pepper, right? The thing is, Stack Overflow is an amazing platform, and I'm personally not intending to stop using it, right? So I think, in a way, it's kind of the question rather is, what is the value, right? I mean, Stack Overflow is the go-to place for programming problems. Hey, you know, I have this thing, I want to do this, how do I do it? I'm not saying that we're not going to have something like that today in Programmer Network eventually, but I think if we would build that right now, I don't think that anyone would choose Programmer Network that has 200 signed up people so far over Stack Overflow that exists for 20 years, right? So it's really, when you're building a product development is really about choosing when to build something. It's not only what to build. What to build, that's easy. It's easy to find something to do. The hardest thing is, like, when do you do it? When do you find the... Yeah, absolutely, guy from Mars. It is. It absolutely is, right? Exactly. This guy is my friend. This guy used to be my tech lead at Airtame. One of the best developers I met. Super, super good developer. I learned a lot of stuff from him. A lot of stuff. Okay. Okay, so cool. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, good. So let's continue. Sorry, I shifted with my thoughts a bit from the questions. So the next thing basically we want to do, right, is we want to make sure that... So let's actually make this guy async, right? Try that. Does it still work? Yes, okay, great. So here we're gonna just call some API, right? So let's do that, and then we're gonna turn this into service. So we're gonna have a cleanup process at the end. So when this whole feature works, when we are happy with, and like we will need few more streams to... I don't think we are finishing this yet. Probably 2 or 3 even more streams to fully, because we have the low fidelity mockups here, right? So we still need to build a bit of a... We still now... So we're building the dashboard, the courses dashboard. So the dashboard where you create a course and stuff. Then we need to build a view where people are going to be, you know, watching that. So we need to build a simple landing page for each course. Well, the landing page for courses, then a landing page for a single course. And then when you enroll in a course, then the course view, basically, right? So like something like this. And as you're clicking here, oh my god, Mike is here. Jesus Christ, he's still alive. Good evening, Mike. Good evening, buddy. Good to have you here, man. And what was this? So let me grab this endpoint from my Swaggerio. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. Lectures sort, okay. So now it's the moment when we test. Now is the moment when we test, is our API working properly? So let's see. So now we're gonna call their API and try to see if that actually works. Okay, it failed. What am I working for? I'm working on the courses feature. So basically, so you know, I want to start building some courses to get also more people to the platform, and I want other people to be able to make them, hopefully. So I want to basically be able to just, you know, when I do a YouTube course or whatever, I want to be able to have placeholders here and stuff for it. Okay, let's see what's happening. So what did we send? We send a payload that looks like this. And I think my Swagger told me, hey, Alex, that, shit. So it's lectures. So it's an object with lectures, which is an array. Okay. So that's a bit of a strange, strange choice I made, but whatever. Let's say lectures, and that's going to be body, right? How's the traffic so far to the site? I mean, people are signing up almost every day now. Today we had, I mean, in this stream, we only had sub sign up. But I think we have, and keep in mind, I haven't invited, we have a few hundred people who signed up long ago to that sign up form that we had. But I think every stream now we get 2 or 3 people. Then when I'm at work, I check it out, and then people find us on Google. So it's happening slowly. I mean, again, as I said many times, I'm going to be showing up here for maybe a year or even 2 years, right? So I'm not looking at this short term. I'm looking at this long term, right? So exactly. So it's good as long as people are showing up, and you know, we have some early adopters. I'm happy, right? Building a social platform is hard, not from a technical perspective, from a social perspective, right? Okay, there we go. I think it worked. Yep, there we go. It works. So you can kind of see, right? I think, Mike, I think you remember when we spoke about it last time here, right? Again, I do this because I love programming, right? It's a win already, man. I'm not looking at this as some sort of a business or anything. You know, I'm enjoying this, and that's all that really matters, right? I can send empty post. Did you actually manage to do that? That's a bit strange. Let's actually try that. Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, you actually, I guess, shouldn't be able to. Let's see. Or maybe just empty spaces. Ah, I see. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. We can actually fix that fairly quickly. We can even do that now. But let's not do that now because I'm actually too tired. I'll need to go soon. I need to go to work in like 8 hours. But let's write that down. It's a fairly simple fix. We just need a custom validator for that. Exactly. It's super simple. So check for empty content in tip-tab.js. Recently, you know, we have switched from draft.js because Facebook deprecated it to tip-tab.js. So I need to kind of rewrite a lot of, or to write some of those things again, right? Small label bug. Yeah, Hans, so hi, absolutely, man. Yeah. Of course you can. Okay, thank you very much for reporting this. Awesome. Let me just join the party here. What a nice discussion, guys. Thank you. Very, very insightful. That's pretty much what the discussion was. I love it. Actually, I didn't add, so Guy from Mars, I didn't add the image plugin yet. I will do that in the upcoming weeks, right? Yeah, no matter what you do, right? No matter what you do, you can see that this accepts empty space, right? So you can see that I can literally just do this as well. So yes, the issue is that, yeah, I don't think that any images are going to be rendered, but let's try, right? I don't remember. I definitely didn't add. Let's actually try. No, the images are not going to render because we didn't set up the plugin. I do not, no. Okay. So we don't have images yet. Okay, going back to this. So we'll need some states still here, right? We'll still need states and stuff. We'll need some spinners, some loading states, right? This obviously now happens too fast, but let's imagine that when I drag this stuff, right? you know, this might not happen in 1 microsecond like now, but it's kind of good, right? So we can reorder that stuff. Okay, so now we have a tiny issue. It seems we've forgotten to add on click handler somewhere. Let's see where we had it before. Okay, so that's a bit awkward. Yeah, I don't even know why I have that button here. I don't actually remember. Pretty strange, but that's what it is. Like, we don't really need this. This was just dummy. This was just like demo or some sort. We are off on Friday here in Denmark, so we are off on Friday. But yeah, I'm working next 2 or 3. I want to write my project from scratch with pure JS. Do you think it's a waste of time to do traditional prototype inheritance for learning experience? So I think okay, so let me just put it this way. I think you should definitely do it. You know, back in the day we actually wrote JavaScript apps from scratch like that. I think that you should definitely build a framework once in your career. You should use prototype inheritance. You should use HTML5 history API. You should try out virtual DOM, some library implementation. You should try Shadow DOM as well, which is built-in implementation in native web components, right? So you should definitely do all this, right? I think you should know basics of the JavaScript language itself, you know, variable hoisting, prototypal inheritance, right? The difference between classical and prototypal inheritance. So all of this you should definitely know. You should know, you know, scopes and closures, especially, you know, asynchronous JavaScript, right? So you should definitely build it. Yes, definitely. I think probably today the level of competence of programming has never been so low, because a lot of new people, they just start working, they start using frameworks, and I support that 100%. I agree with Mike. You should definitely eventually. The thing is, you know, back in the day, I used to build frameworks myself in the teams where I worked, and then you always land at the same place where those frameworks are today. You end up building your own router, your own this, your own that. The biggest problem with that is that, think about it this way. Violet, thank you very much for the sub, man. I appreciate it. The reason why frameworks exist, right, is because imagine that if all of us would be building our own tools. So imagine how impossible would it be to hire anybody. Imagine you're now working as a developer, right? Imagine that you know, you're working as a developer, and every time you change the job you have to learn a new framework. That would be impossible, right? But in short words, yes, absolutely, go for it and build a little framework yourself, and start with the top-down approach. So for example, if you want to build a framework, right, of something modern that exists today, ask yourself, what is it that those frameworks provide? Well, they provide some renderer. There's something that renders something to the DOM. So you'll need to build something that's gonna, you know, utilize the document object model and write some like React or Vue or Angular, right? Then like, okay, what is the next most common thing? Is the router. When I use AngularJS, I use ng router, Vue router, React router, DOM, right? And then break those things down into different projects, right? You don't want to be building everything. You cannot be building like a framework. It's like, oh, I'm gonna now build a framework, right? So what is a framework, right? So you want to break those things down into different packages, different modules, and then finish one thing, then finish another, right? I keep my cookie in a HTTP only cookie. I keep it in an HTTP only cookie. Jesus Christ, so I can't even click anymore because those events are not propagating, it seems now. I would like to think so, Mars. Yes, I mean, I don't have any no follow tags anywhere around, so they should be, yes. I see no reason why not, right? I see no reason why not. You never store tokens in a database, almost ever, no matter which strategy you use. No, especially not with the stateless authentication, right? You never store JSON Web Tokens in a database. That would make no sense, right? Even with session-based authentication, in-memory authentication, right? Your tokens are in memory. That's why it's called, or session-based, right? You never store tokens in a database, right? Because that would be incredibly inefficient. Performance-wise, that would be horrible, right? If I want to ban someone, I mean, there are various ways to do that, right? I mean, right now I have my AppSmith, you know? So right now, if I want to delete or ban someone, I have my AppSmith app. I'm not going to go there now, but I have my internal dashboards and I can just delete a user or set his account to inactive or whatever, right? It's fair enough, bus backends, right? When you're learning things, you do things just so they work. So you should always be making sure that you can build things that work, then never build them in the first place, because nobody gives a crap again about if things are perfect if they're never getting out there, right? So that's what it means to learn and become professional. You learn by building, by failing, by making mistakes. That's what learning is, right? So always do that. Always tell to yourself, I'll rather build something that works than never build anything, right? Just keep on hacking, keep on building, and you know, everyone can say things, very few people can do things, right? So just focus on yourself and building things, and it's easy to talk, it's hard to do, right? I'm a bit confused about this. Give me 2 seconds. What the hell is happening? So I had a section course lectures map here. Oh, never mind. My bad. All good. It is not, no. It's just pure React, no. So yeah, so we have a little problem now, obviously, here, right? Which is clicking on things, right? So this event doesn't seem to be propagating at all, right? And that kind of sucks. And of course, no, it's not, of course. It should be actually propagating, but it's not. So let's actually take a look at this. All right. So much crap, man. Jesus Christ. How many levels is there here? Yeah, so this is not gonna do, right? This is not gonna do, but we'll continue this tomorrow anyway, and I think we're pretty much nearly done. I'm just getting tired. It's been working like 12 hours today or some shit like that, right? So it's okay. We're gonna nail this tomorrow anyway. Mike, thank you very much for passing by, dude. Appreciate it as always. Well, okay, listen, guys. Let's round it up. We had some good discussions. We did some work. I thought we're gonna be honestly way further away today than this crap. But this is always the cost that you pay when you choose those libraries which are supposed to solve everything. I made a mistake. I should have just built a simple thing myself, just a simple library just for our own use case, because there's too much crap here going on, and that is again the pitfall of picking something that's just way too generic and way too broad, and it has too many APIs, too much stuff to deal with, right? So let's stop here. Let's just round it up. Again, if you want to just show some support for the project, please sign up on Programmer Network. Stick around. Let's try to build this together. And of course, whenever I'm streaming, ask any questions. I'm very happy to answer them. Pretty much that's it. Yeah, let's round it up here. I'll head off now. I'll head to bed. So enjoy yourselves, take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for being here as always, and I'll catch you guys up tomorrow, 9 p.m. Copenhagen time, again, as always. Peace out, thanks again, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay?